All right, folks, we'll get started in just a minute. Let me get this shared out on social media. Let me know where you're joining from this evening. Let me get this shared out. Get started in just a minute or two. Weather's been a little quiet. Haven't had to do a live stream in a while. But thought tonight might be interesting for one. Won't be too long, probably about 10 minutes or so. But wanted to give everybody a chance to jump on and ask their questions. Let me know where you're watching from. And let me know what platform you're watching on, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. Because the weekend forecast should be pretty decent. But next week, things may get a little interesting around here. Good old Kiwi. Glinda, thanks for joining us. An old friend of mine, Glinda Gregory. Used to ride the bus together in middle school. Saw a bunch of old friends tonight out at the World Chicken Festival. A lot of folks out and about. And good evening, friends. Meteorologist Shane Smith here. Thanks for joining us on both YouTube and Facebook. Doing a little live stream tonight instead of the typical recorded weather. Just because things are looking a little interesting, and I figured haven't done one of these in a while. Might as well dust it off, see if it still works. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a wet week after a very prolonged dry stretch of weather here in southern and eastern Kentucky. We are tracking a few showers tonight, but as we go in the next week, we may have to talk some tropical weather. Let's kind of zoom the old map out, show you what's going on big picture. There is a big area of high pressure building off to our west. It is going to dry things out in the central U.S. Over here in the Carolinas, that cold front, which brought us the showers earlier today and the heavy rain at times, is pushing off to the east. Now that low is going to stall out a little bit as it gets closer to the coast, and it could spin a few showers in here for this weekend. So the weekend not going to be completely dry. I don't think it's going to be a washout, and especially up in central and western Kentucky, if you're joining us from there, I think y'all are mainly dry. It's here in the southeast, down along the Appalachians. That's where things get a little bit interesting for this weekend as far as just a chance of rain. And then as we go in the next week, things get interesting because of the tropics. The tropics are becoming a little bit more active. We have had a very quiet tropical season so far. And you know, we don't typically talk tropical weather here on this channel, but every now and then the tropics do play an influence on our weather in Kentucky, and we can get the remnants of storm systems. That may happen next week. We're going to have to watch things very closely. Here's a look at the forecast for tomorrow, though. You can check that out. Right below me, you can see we're going to start off with some dense fog tomorrow morning. Temperatures right around that 60 mark. Areas that saw heavy rain earlier in the day today, just be on the lookout for that dense fog. It will likely slow down the morning commute a little bit. By lunchtime, a few passing clouds, low 70s. Tomorrow afternoon in southern and eastern Kentucky, mid to upper 70s for highs. A spotty shower or two. I don't think it's a washout. Kind of a similar situation on Saturday. Sunday looks mainly dry. Next week, however, One of these two systems could play an impact on our weather. Right now, we've got Tropical Storm Umberto out in the Atlantic, looking like it's getting ready to become a hurricane. It's got a very nice signature on the satellite picture this evening. That storm is starting to look a lot more organized. You got that buzzsaw look to it. That storm's breathing, ventilating well. It's looking good. But down here, just to the northwest of Puerto Rico, north of the Isle of Hispaniola, we've got an area of tropical low pressure starting to organize and will likely become a milda. In fact, the National Hurricane Center has an 80% chance of this forming a tropical storm or hurricane in the next couple of days. And you'll notice this path is taking it towards the Carolinas. Storms that go into the Carolinas, especially if they hit South Carolina and then shoot up, could bring us rain here in eastern Kentucky, especially next week. Something we're going to have to watch for. Austin Kendrick asking, do I think it's going to rain Saturday for Pikeville? Small chance. We're going to take a closer look at that here in just a second. Austin, Ethel Turner, thanks for watching. Always glad to have you with us. So let's see how things are going to play out in the future. We're going to start off here in London, though, because there's a big event in town. We've got the World Chicken Festival going on this weekend. Me, Amanda, and Eli were out there tonight. Had a great time. The weather was almost perfect. Crowds weren't too heavy, although it was busy. You can see in that picture I snapped this evening there in the background. There was a decent crowd. Some good food to be had, a lot of fun. Tomorrow, looking like a pretty nice day, especially if you go earlier in the day. By the afternoon and evening, a 20% chance of a shower or thunderstorm. It will rain at some point during the Chicken Festival. It always does. Knock on wood. We'll see if that forecast holds, but just historically speaking, we usually get some rain at least one day at the Chicken Festival. We'll be in the upper 50s tomorrow morning, and then highs into the upper 70s. We go into Saturday, we're going to bump that chance up ever so slightly. We're going to go 30% chance of an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. Highs, once again, mid-70s. Cloud cover going to be just a little bit thicker on Saturday as that low pressure slings a few more clouds our way. Sunday, mix of sun and clouds, high just shy of 80. So there's your forecast for the weekend. Okay, we're going to switch models real quick, take a look and show you how that weekend forecast plays out here in Kentucky. Friday afternoon, you'll see a few of those storms try to come in along the Tennessee border, although the latest run of the HRRR not as aggressive with that as some of the earlier runs. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. And then on Saturday, it's showing a slightly better chance of a few of those pop-up showers and storms. Once again, not a ton of coverage, but I think one or two storms may cross the Virginia or Tennessee borders and come on up into southern and eastern Kentucky. A little bit better coverage showing up on the NAM model. This is just another model's take on how the weekend forecast looks. Notice a few spotty showers. I don't think it's a washout by any stretch of the imagination, but anything that does go up could put down a quick half inch or so. That's what we're seeing on the NAM model. So as far as that rain chance for Pikeville on Saturday, Austin, I'm going to call it about a 30% chance. Let's go big picture. Let's talk about how all this comes together next week. So there is what will likely become a melda. And Umberto. And we may get something we don't see very often in the Atlantic. You've probably heard this on TikTok or on social media, the Fujiwara effect, where these storms could possibly start rotating around each other. If you watch the newest Twisters movie, the sequel to Twister, they talked about the Fujiwara effect where the tornadoes were dancing around each other. That can also happen on larger storm systems like hurricanes or cyclones. Well, happens in the Pacific a little bit more frequently. Doesn't happen all that often in the Atlantic, but that's something we're going to have to watch out for. The GFS not as sold on that potential, but what it is sold on is slamming that storm, likely as a Cat 2, up into the Carolinas. And if that happens, that would likely bring us rain on Tuesday here in eastern Kentucky. And as that storm dissipates, we'll see lingering showers Wednesday and possibly Thursday as Umberto recurves, back out to sea. Here's the latest spaghetti tracks from what could become Imelda. And you'll see a lot of those tracks are taking it towards Kentucky. So, do I think we'll get severe weather from it? Probably not. Some heavy rain, potentially. Anytime we get a tropical system in here, there can be some heavy rain. And I won't say no to severe weather. It's just, I'd definitely be more concerned with the heavy rain than the wind from that storm. Although we have seen the winds from like Helene caused a lot of issues. This storm will not be as strong as Helene. But just something to keep in mind. We could see some pretty heavy rain Tuesday and Wednesday if that system moves on into the region. Then as we go on into next week, you'll notice there's that cool down as that tropical remnant system comes in. And then behind it, mid to upper 70s, near 80, as we go into the first full week of October. So a little bit above where we should be. We should be starting to drop things down mid 70s. We're still staying a little bit above that. So I am calling for a high tomorrow, Austin, into the upper 70s. So it is going to be warm again. Any other questions? So that's just a look. Nothing too major this weekend. Just a few spotty showers. Once again, to recap, if you are going out to the World Chicken Festival this weekend, pack that umbrella, especially on Saturday. 30% chance of showers, mainly in the afternoon. If anything does pop up, I don't think it'll last very long. And just a 20% chance tomorrow. But history tells us Chicken Festival always gets a little rain, so expect just a little bit. And then we will keep an eye on the tropics. Glenda asking, will we see a stormy fall? That is a good question, Glenda, and I am still working on a seasonal forecast right now. As we head into the winter, I have been looking at some of the more long-range stuff. I think, based on what I'm seeing right now, this winter may end up playing out very similar to last winter. And that means that the fall will likely play out very similar to last fall. So I remember at times last winter we were a bit wet. We also had some warm streaks in there. So I think we will, at least over the next couple of weeks, be a little bit warmer. And then as we get deeper into October, I think some more of those cold fronts will start diving in. I do think it's going to be an active weather pattern going into the winter. The question is, where does the storm track end up, and do we end up on the cold side of things? Austin Kidrick asking, am I going to post more weather next week? Of course. Been trying to post pretty consistently this month. I think 20 days, and we've had at least some kind of update on my Facebook page every one of those days. It wasn't necessarily a video, but I am trying to be very consistent with at least some kind of weather content every day down on meteorologist Shane Smith on Facebook. If you're watching on that platform, hit that follow button. We are getting very close to 2,400 followers on my meteorologist page. I would love to get that up to 2,500 by the winter. That way more people can see the forecast. We can let them know what to expect as we go into the winter season. Hit that share button anytime I post content. That really helps me out. And also on YouTube, we are inching closer to 500 followers and subscribers. So if you watch over on YouTube, share that content. hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let your friends and family know if they need a trusted voice for weather for southern and eastern Kentucky. I am happy to be that voice. That is where I specialize, and that is my home. That's my folks I'm taking care of. All right. Well, if there are no more questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Just wanted to dust the old live stream off and made sure everything was still working. Haven't had to use it in a while. That's a good thing, but just wanted to make sure it was still working in case we need it anytime soon, and things are looking good. All right, friends. Well, until next time, I'm meteorologist Shane Smith. Take care, stay weather aware, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.